Welcome to the halftime stream of the final game of Super Wildcard Weekend. Andy, how you doing today? Happy Monday.
Yeah, I thought I was happy about the 2-2-2, but the first game snuck up on my ass. Like, oh
Sure.
God, like because I had shit to do. The kids didn't have school today. A daughter had like a volleyball camp that I had to go to. I had to watch the other one for a while. Suddenly it's like, shit, you have to like take this child, honey. I have to go watch a football game. It's like now. Shit starts now. So yeah, happy Monday, happy Martin Luther King Jr. Day. Happy Bills got a win despite moving their, game, and now they're only at a 2-day rest disadvantage.
I
That'll
mean,
be fun.
it's not like they had a bunch of impactful injuries, right?
Yeah, it's not like half the defense was in the locker room at one point or another. But
Yikes.
this one was looking like it was going to be a dull game where the Eagles, somebody in the Discord, I don't know who it was to give them credit right now, but they said it looks like the Eagles defense is quiet quitting with some of the tackling. I mean, just some of the tackling we saw was really, really suspect from a team that, should be better than that. Obviously they have issues in coverage, but getting it going a little with that big play to Devontae and then punching that in. That was a nice little play too, to the tight end there. So I don't. What was the thought process behind going for 2? Was it just because they got a penalty?
Because it was a yard closer and it was 4th and 1 instead of 4th and 2. But
Yeah.
I mean, it's from the 1 yard line to the 2 yard line. Eagles probably think that that's a 90% play for us, so they went for it. It makes sense. The Eagles defense is just atrocious. The one punt by the Bucs so far came because of a super high leverage sack. I gotta ask you one question, because maybe you know internet culture a little bit better than me. You're younger than me. But Baker Mayfield, when he ran for that one first down, right, and then he stood up and he did like the face wipe, go right. Like, is it a face wipe? Is that like is it like what's going on there?
I brought it up in the Discord. Nobody really said anything.
What's going on there?
To me, that means something like, hey, guess what I just got out of the movies?
Yes, the dirty Sanchez. Yeah,
the dirty Rattencrotch here, and like, hey, you do that to your buddy. Like, I don't, but like the worst person in your friend group does that to people.
It's the Young Thug slime. Young Thug makes it cool. Right. Okay, but it's just like
it is a stinky finger to me.
Like, that's how you want to celebrate? Okay, but I gotta tell you, like when Baker Mayfield is playing well and his energy is up, right? Like, it's fun. It's a fun watch. And the fact that the Eagles are such a depressing, kind of bunch right now, and that the Bucs are doing wild stuff. They're showing the replay of that broken tackle, run, a 58-yard catch and run by David Moore. Like, that was a wild play. Yeah, we got ourselves an interesting game.
One big thing to move back to. You are familiar with Young Thug. It's the meme. It's the meme where he's over the the mixing board and stuff in the studio.
Yeah.
Okay.
For sure. No, I know who Young Thug is. I just didn't know that he originated the wipe your face.
If you're not,
he originated dirty Sanchezing yourself, which is kind of weird, I guess. Yeah. I don't know.
If you're not a character in Mortal Kombat, I don't know your signature move. Second half line is Philly -3.5 with a little extra juice on that.
That's
sandwich.
Tempting. That's tempting. What do you think of the Eagles not actually quitting? Because like there was some opportunity there, right?
Yeah.
There's a path. There's not, because they're down by 7. There's not really a path for them to cover the second half spread and the Bucs still win outside of some weird scorigami shit happening, which it might. But we got ourselves a. I didn't see it.
Dirty yourself.
Yeah. So that's like, it was what it looks like, honestly. Anyway, not that I know what that looks like. Not that I
again off track, but Schefter tweeted the Falcons interviewed Belichick, which I guess we all thought was coming.
Oh, okay.
Big moves, big moves.
Are they going to have to send comp to the Patriots? Like, do you know how the Patriots divorce went down? Like, was it like the Sean Payton one where they had
I
the?
think he's free. I think he's free and clear because they parted.
Okay. Yeah. No.
I don't have a bet here. No bet.
Do you have like? These games have all been real wide open. You have two live quarterbacks here. Devontae Smith is apparently undefensible for the Bucs defense, which is weird.
Him and David Moore.
Neither pass rush is really getting home a ton. There's been some good scrambling. Oh yeah, by the way, so much for Baker Mayfield dealing with injuries that were going to affect his mobility. He's freaking. He's
got a couple nice scrambles for sure. They have gotten to Hurts a little on a couple blitzes. He's gotten the ball away in time. I think the one where it was, a bad third down, the one on the last drive there's been 2 or 3 good blitzes where they got some pressure that he wasn't able to, find someone open down the field. So, yeah, the play is no play here, but we'll find something to do.
I'm inclined to take Eagles. Like, it's a weird shoot the middle here because I got Bucs at a better price. What's my Bucs price? I guess the home field advantage felt like it was waning a little bit in that one. I don't know if the crowd's going to be able to get up for a second half here. We'll see.
It's late in Florida.
Okay, let me kind of catalog any other reasons here. The fact that the Eagles have already kind of had to sort of abandon the run and just go, wide open, and the fact that the Eagles are in general good at the 4th and 1 conversion makes me think they're going to have some sustained drives, some scoring opportunities, which is kind of why I want Eagles. I guess they get the ball first. I'm sure we haven't seen, some of the exotic stuff that they want to get back in this game, and 7 points is, it's a doable it's a climbable hill, I guess is what
there is. You never know how the scoring's going to be. There are scenarios where the Eagles cover this and don't win the game.
Yeah, but if they tie it and the Bucs kick a game-winning field goal, right? Bucs win by 3, that everybody's happy, right? That's kind of why I want this.
Everybody could be happy in that scenario because I don't think the Eagles defense is suddenly going to step up bigly. But the other part of this too, Drew, is Tampa Bay's defense has some nice pieces. Obviously, Winfield is like an all-pro. I mean, he's very, very much getting there, but their corners can be beat, and obviously we saw that too. And some of the misdirection they used with Adams there, Devontae Adams. Yeah, I guess they have the same name, sort of. So
here's an interesting
what they're able to do with Smith there.
Interesting nugget for you. So halftime limits right now on the side at Chris are $50K, 2-win $50K. There was a move for on the index Eagles from 113 up to 116, and then immediately a double tap on the Bucs. It came back down to 112 and then 108. So there's some people swinging, some limit bets, and there's some 2A action on this second half side, which that all makes sense. I'm happy to shoot for a middle. Bucs win by 3. Let's call it a weekend. It's been a good weekend overall, outcome wise. The Steelers, not coming in the back door was annoying, but also the fact that the game was contested in relatively positive weather conditions instead of what we were expecting when we handicapped it was a little annoying. Not that I am, sad that I think they made the right decisions for the citizens of Buffalo in terms of health and safety and, fatalities on the road. But anyway,
it is a little crazy that they couldn't get the snow cleaned up in time.
It is crazy.
Seeing some of those videos, it's like, we've had this scenario before where they had to shovel out stadiums and stuff. They always seem to be able to do it. All right, we'll go Eagles minus.
So in the NBA today for MLK Day, you didn't have to wait till Bills came on. There were sports on early today. In fact, they went right from Aussie Open right into NBA. Yeah, the team Felix Auger-Aliassime match that no one wanted to watch or no one wanted to win went pretty much right into NBA today. and then right into NFL. And the 76ers did their job, held on by the hair of their chinny chins, got that cover. The Bills did their, the Cavs did their job, although they made that harder than it had to be as well. And the Nets blew what felt like a 30-point lead. I don't know what it was, but the Miami Heat managed to score 31 points in the first half of this game, and yet the Nets cover is still very much in doubt as we head to overtime, 88-88. If you played an under in that game, you don't deserve to sweat overtime. But guess what? Realistically, it's going to take probably 5 overtime periods for them to get there at the rate we've seen in this game. So Nets still very much in the balance there. So we'll be watching that. And in the Aussie women's side, Iga playing with her food, Sophia Kennan had her on the ropes in the first set before ultimately losing the tiebreak. And other than that, it's been a pretty chalky start to the tournament.
I still, as somebody pointed out, $20 is not a lot of money anymore. Maybe, and I mean, cost of living in upstate New York is not Manhattan, but it's just kind of a thumb your nose at the people.
Sure. It's like, we'll give you a free Bud Light.
You get a free hot dog too.
yeah.
I mean, just the fact that you need the stadium cleaned up, it's imperative because you have a game. You're owned by a billionaire. The league is a $100 billion whatever. Like, pay $50 an hour and get a bunch of people out there really excited to go make a few $100. Yeah, and that's the thing. Like $20 is like a hot dog and half a beer.
Amazing.
If you were at the game.
Unbelievable. All right. Well, you ready to go do the full-on show? Should I play the music?
Yeah. Let's transition from halftime Drew and Andy to podcast Drew and Andy.
Welcome to the acclaimed podcast, The Deep Dive, featuring your esteemed hosts, Andy Monitor and Drew Dinzik, powered by BetSperts.
Welcome to The Deep Dive. You want to leave the banner up? What do you think?
I'll take it down.
I don't know where it is.
It's in their banners.
I don't see it.
It's gone now.
All right. Let's welcome to the deep dive, of course. We are of course at halftime, third quarter getting started here for the final of the wild card games. But we want to kind of do our typical service where we talk about the games in a little bit more detail that we just saw, break down any handicapping angles, notable injuries, the thoughts on coaching decisions, blah, blah, blah. And then kind of get right into the opening lines because we do have 3 of the 4 games up and there is action in these markets. Not a ton, but people are making bets and they'd like to provide some commentary on those bets. So without further ado, do you want to start with the, in order, Houston Texans defeating the Cleveland Browns?
Yeah. And I mean, we did talk a little bit on the previous halftime shows, as we've been doing these every evening for Super Wild Card Weekend, but it was just kind of Stroud is not phased at all by this situation. DeMeco is not phased. Bobby's in his bag, and when Flacco throws an arm punt interception in a game they're leading, it's one thing. When he throws, several interceptions that are very, very meaningful otherwise, game's going to end up like this. It was always going to be maybe a little bit of variance on the arm of Joe Flacco like that. And other than that, the Houston Texans probably have the offense to hang with, basically, I don't know, anyone who's left, I suppose.
Yeah. Defense was optional.
They put Noah Brown on the IR, but I mean, they've been running through wide receivers. They've been missing guys up and down. And honestly, except for the games that CJ was actually out, they've kind of had guys just next man up at wide receiver and pass rush.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Defense was optional in the first half of this game. And you could kind of point to the 2 defensive touchdowns and be like, well, it wasn't as bad as the score. Well, the Texans were 8.1 yards per play and the Browns were 4.6. This was a beating. It was not a beat down necessarily, but it was an impressive, it was an impressive performance from the Cleveland Browns offense. Excuse me, for the Houston Texans offense. The Browns defense not traveling was something that was bantied about in the lead run up to this game. The Browns defense being worse over the second half of the season. The first half of the season was definitely noteworthy. And they were just kind of in general lacking in the splash plays. Some of that was certainly the fact that the Texans offensive line did their job effectively. Laramie Tunsil went down. Did he come back in the game? Is he going to be okay?
He's always
a little banged up.
And honestly, we're not going to get good news on him till like Friday anyway, probably. He's always missing at least, 1 or 2 practices a week. Our Eagles are not starting off so hot right now.
No, that was
We'll try to avoid watching that game altogether. There was Denzel Perryman left the game. It was a rib injury. They're saying it's not serious. He is expected to return for the divisional round. I don't know if I'm really going to want to go over injuries for the losing teams. They really don't matter. No. Joel Bitonio does not matter in the divisional round, but Perriman was banged up. Anderson exited the game, a couple times, but he's been doing that every game for about a month now. He'll be back for his, 15 snaps next week. And then I think probably the same with Tunsil. You won't find out a lot during the week's practices, because it'll be like, well, Tunsil sat out because it's Tuesday or Wednesday, and he's not ever going to play these because he's been banged up all year. I would expect he's one of those where, hey, he's questionable, but he's playing. He's our tackle.
Yeah. Before Flacco immolated in the second half of the game, I thought he played pretty well in the first half, even though there were a bunch of Browns that got, that were getting popped. Amari Cooper had an injury that looked like it impacted him early in the game. I will say the silliest play of the game was when Flacco got hit in the head, and then the defender promptly did a breakdancing move on his back. Yes, and it was it was a wow play, but at the same time, it was probably an illegal hit that didn't get called. The refs were very, very Texans friendly, it felt like, to a degree.
Yeah, that Njoku on the right sideline where he was hit before the ball got there. Yeah. That one felt
wrong. Yeah, and there was the overarching theme I thought of the refs was a little bit of like swallow the whistle, like a little bit of just hey guys, let's call this. Let's chill on the old ref show. And particularly for the home teams in a couple of instances, I thought. So we'll see if teams lean into, well, they're going to let us get away with more. And if that kind of impacts the way that defenses are coached, particularly, I think would be kind of important to follow for the next round. The final thoughts in this game are, thank God for CJ Stroud being good. If we had another class of like 3-4 quarterbacks drafted and we didn't have one of them show us something special, it was going to be a bummer. And the fact that he's already where he is and his progression is just awesome. And hilarious that everyone who's getting credit in Houston is getting credit for it when it, we know kind of some of this behind the scenes about that decision to take.
I think we might have something in Richardson as well. And
dude, that's like sixth drop by the Bucs so far.
All right, 7. Yeah. That's 7 actually.
That was number 7. Jesus.
I think they have 6 in the first half. But
oh shit.
No, Richardson might be something. And I mean, your point is very well. Kind of. You're not the only one to say it. You're not the only one to think it. I've been kind of ruminating that all weekend. Like I'm happy. This is weird to say this to a younger Andy who was a big Vikings fan, but like I'm happy that Jordan Love is good too. As annoying that has to be for like Bears, Vikings, Lions fans, it's like 40 straight years of having a good quarterback in Green Bay. But like it is nice that some of these younger quarterbacks are playing well.
Yes,
that's just it's good for the league to have good quarterback plays.
Yeah.
We've
like
some of those matchups down the week 10, week 12, where we were just absolutely lampooning the quarterback matchups. Yeah. Like, oh my gosh, we're going to have, it's going to be, the Jets. Oh God, who was the Jets backup that went in that one week before they?
Oh, not Simeon, the other guy.
Well, there might have been Simeon too.
No, there was another guy after. They went to another guy after Zach Wilson before Simeon.
Yeah.
and he was terrible. But like Clayton Tune with the with
Yeah,
the Cardinals.
was,
in that
I
one
think he
relief
was
frame.
cut. Yeah,
Yikes,
so
he was bad. All right, so yeah, no, I think we're in a good state, and it's very very
Tim Boyle.
Tim Boyle.
Thank you.
Good
Yeah,
call.
Tim Boyle.
Good
Tim
call.
Boyle playing
Good
games
call.
was rough.
All right. No material upgrading or downgrading of Houston. Although, if you had questions about again the playoff fortitude of Mr. CJ Stroud, those have been answered with a rousing. Oh, you know what? Actually, one more observation. Bobby Slowick learned a little bit from that Colts game.
I think
a little more
so.
aggressive, a little more pass first, a little more. We'll take the. We're gonna take the governor off here. We're gonna take the.
I'd like to give him. Yeah, I'd like to give him credit. And I, right off the top, I said that Slowick, Demeco, CJ, we didn't seem scared, but out of all those, the guy who needed to make an adjustment probably was the play caller. And yeah, we saw way too many wasted downs against the Colts where they were running where clearly the running game wasn't working, and they got way more aggressive. And I mean, it obviously the turnovers were huge, but man, it worked. So hat tip, Bobby Slowick, you were in your bag.
Yeah. If you have Houston futures at preposterously large numbers, I think you realistically need one more win, and then you can.
Yeah, you got to ride it for another.
Even 100-1 AFC is not. It's not. You need one more win. Because they're going to be, again, like probably 8 or 9 point dogs in the AFC Championship game. And so you can do the math pretty obviously what the money line price is now, what it's going to be in the AFC Championship game, and kind of figure out the right way to hedge that. But by all means, if it's a big number, consider how you're going to approach it. The nightcap on Saturday was a little bit of a bust because Miami decided not to come to the. Oh, they did play. Miami did show up.
They did come.
You know what? Is it crazy? But like 7 points, kind of a flattering total for how they played in that game. I know it was one big play to Tyreek Hill.
I mean, it wasn't even a good play. It was it was an underthrow.
Yeah.
I mean, Tyreek did most of the work there. No, there are some good players, and they made some good plays for Miami. Tua was not one of them. I mean, just the way he played, they were never going to be in that game. The overthrow and the interception, and like I said, even the touchdown pass, like his touch was completely off. I don't know if it was the cold or an injury he's been carrying, or this was his first real playoff game. I mean, it's a tough place to play in the weather, and he looked lost at times.
Yeah,
his accuracy was garbage. His decision making was garbage. His, I don't know, pocket presence. If you truly,
it was the quintessential first playoff game stinker. Honestly, like it had all of those check marks. The fact that it happened after a not so superlative second half, end of the season for him is worth kind of paying attention to. Ooh, bad penalty on that.
Yeah, you gotta call that.
I guess you gotta call it, but it kind of felt like. It's really trying to slide. Yeah, it's helmet to
helmet. You can't do anything there.
Yeah. All right. So the general kind of Mahomes being a little out of a little rusty himself, but very good on the ground. Scrambled when he needed to. We had some really really outstanding kind of high leverage moments in the first half to get them the lead and then put the game away pretty comfortably. They could have scored into the 30s if they had been a little bit more sharp, I guess. But in those conditions, congratulations for doing what you did.
I know, but that has been their MO now. So I was looking at the Raiders and Cincinnati games.
Sure.
Which one of them they actually lost. When they went down in the second quarter of those games, they had 14 drives combined between those games. One of them ended up in the end zone.
Yeah.
They have really, really struggled to finish drives. And granted, yes, this is a win, and the game state was not putting them in a spot where they needed to, continue to pound it into the end zone. But I mean, there was an awful lot of drives. It's like, why is this how we're ending this drive? Why are we kicking another field goal? You're probably a little bit better than this. And that worries me against a better team, because they did, outside of Rice and obviously Kelsey, there were some issues.
Yeah, no, they were not. I mean, the offense certainly was not especially sharp. Pacheco was pretty decent on the ground, I thought, when they needed him to be, and that's fine. Helped them put away the game. They were 1 of 1 on 4th down, pretty efficient on 3rd down. The Dolphins 1 of 12 on 1st down, 3 of 6. Jesus Christ! They only end up with 7 points. He says, despite converting 3 4th downs, 4.5 yards per play for Dolphins is pathetic by their standards. 5.5 for the Chiefs is nothing to write home about. Weather conditions being as weird as they were, I'm sure. Yeah, that was a factor. But I guess hat tip to the Dolphins defense for going out with at least a little bit of fight and not just a whimper, which they could have considering how injured they were. My favorite play of the game was the one where Mahomes was scrambling and Pacheco saw it coming. I think it was Pacheco.
And he just starts sprinting.
He saw his coverage guy was trailing and was beat and was freaking out. So he was panicking and running after Pacheco. So rather than just like stop and block, do like a useless blocking play, he literally created negative space for Mahomes to run into, which was super cool.
It was funny watching that guy turn around and realize what was happening. Because, it's easy for us to see, but when he turns around and realizes, like, I've been sprinting the wrong way for, like, a full 3 seconds here. This is bad. I did. Yeah. Somebody pointed that out on Twitter. I really did enjoy that.
Yeah.
Injury-wise, Derek Noddy. I don't know how to say this guy's last name.
Not going to work here anymore.
He did have it's NNADI. I don't know. Noddy. He had an elbow injury, exited the game, ruled out pretty quickly, I think. We'll see on him. Rice was banged up at one point, but he did come back into the game. Maybe just something to monitor. I'm not sure.
Because he matters a lot. I mean, he's clearly your best. He's better. He's a more important pass catcher right now than Travis Kelce. Is that sacrilegious to say out loud?
I think Kelce draws enough coverage where he's still important, even if he's not at the top of his game. But Rice has set himself as like, hey, I'm better than everyone. Yeah. And it was a low bar. but no, he's been good. Tony did not play. He was ruled out pregame.
We'll see. Which is so you got to see MVS drop a pass instead of Tony. Yeah, that's fine. Yeah, it doesn't matter. They're the same person. All right. Sunday morning, we did not have football. What'd you do with your time off on a Sunday morning? Get a little chores done around the house, do a little gardening.
It did. So
you shoveled some snow, you said.
Shoveled snow, but also the wife wants to hang. I have some antique cast iron pans that I love.
Ooh.
Used to have them hung on the wall, but now we replaced that wall and it's sheetrock. It's harder to hang it there.
Sure.
So I took some repurposed wood, real nice old wood, pallet wood.
Yeah.
And I created a nice wall thing. I'll take a picture when it's all done. We're waiting for my blacksmith to finish the hooks. We ordered these nice hooks from a blacksmith. That's what I did besides the snow. But yeah, it was weird not having the noon start.
Yeah. So we finally get football. I was waiting all day for Sunday afternoon, America's Game of the Week. Great. Fox's coverage, by the way, was outstanding. Greg Olsen is awesome.
Greg Olsen is my favorite.
Flat out awesome.
Hey, quick timeout on announcer stuff here. Think of a rookie that had a really good rookie year and then just never did shit for the rest of his career.
Plenty of examples of that.
It could be an injury.
Brandon Simmons,
RG3.
Are you thinking? Oh, yeah, RG3, great call. Yeah,
RG3. That's what Romo is. Romo was so good and almost like. It was annoying how many people were talking about how good he was, and he is flat out fucking awful now. Like he is one of my least favorite announcers now. What happened?
I don't know.
He was so
good. I don't understand it. I think he cares more about golf and less about preparation. Who knows?
Greg Olsen. Yes, you're right. Greg Olsen was great, and it
was excellent.
Sunday.
Oh, they're showing the replay of Baker Mayfield doing the. I don't get it, guys. There's other fun stuff you can do. Sure. Anyway, so waiting all day for the game to start. My biggest position of the week by a margin was Green Bay. I needed them to stay inside 7.5. badly. Not badly, but it's like I'm not betting a lot on these playoff games. These markets are tight, but I did have a decent stake on Packers 7.5 as well as money line. And the first 4 scores of the game for the Packers was literally
We
the
call
Jim
him the
McMahon.
Abraham Lincoln.
What?
When you get 4 scores in a row.
Oh, that's the Abe 4 scores since. That's good. That's
4
good.
scores
I've never heard
7
that.
points?
Oh, I never heard that.
I just made that up, Drew.
Oh, 4 scores.
It's because no one's ever said it, bro.
I've never heard it before. That's
But
excellent.
yeah, that
Abe
game got out of hand in our.
No, it was the first 4 scores were the Jim the Vince McMahon meme. You know where he's like,
oh.
it was it was like, yes, another one. Like it was just, and I feel for Cowboys fans. I feel for Cowboys futures holders. Sorry that I'm gloating on this particular this particular outcome, but boy, oh boy,
Suck
was
it,
it
Rob.
fun to be on the other side. It was incredible. And
They have to
the touchdown the Cowboys scored heading into halftime was obviously like I wasn't like kind of like should I be concerned, like 20-point margin at halftime with the Cowboys getting the ball first. You're just like, okay, just get a couple more stops and we're this might get sweaty, we'll see. The decision by McCarthy to kick the field goal instead of going for it on 4th and 10 was an interesting one. And it got into a bunch of analytical discussions with some smart people online about this. And like, I don't know that I have my entire kind of philosophy on this fleshed out. And I definitely don't have the math answer yet because I don't exactly know how to weigh in the opportunity cost of not going for it and what that could have got, how important that is at that stage of the game to get yourself closer to a neutral game state. But I'm just not interested in picking up plus, 2-3% win probability bump, even if it's the right thing to do analytically with every model we've got that says, hey, your likelihood of getting that 4th and 10 is so low that it's just it doesn't make sense. Like just take the field goal and kind of push the keep the game in somewhat of still a huge negative win probability for you, or still low probability, I guess. So I don't like in an elimination game not kind of you're going to need some crazy shit to happen anyway to come back at that point. You're going to need some low probability stuff to happen anyway. So you might as well kind of go for the ones that really like cut into the margin big time, right? Like the Cowboys were at 13%. If they convert that 4th and 10, they jump to 20, right? You just made up almost 50% of the, you made up 30 something percent of what you need to get back to a 50-50 game. And so it's like that makes sense to you should be going for it there.
And it's just coaches don't think that way though. Coaches don't think in the how much risk they should be putting towards a game. It's different than a week 8 game. Like it is the bell curve because it's like, hey, this is a preseason game that means nothing. This is a postseason game that means everything. Those are the ones where you should be getting risky as fuck because it absolutely doesn't matter and you should try out some stuff or it matters the most and you can't play middle of the road doesn't usually work in spots like that. So I hated it. I did like that they were getting points. I had their team total. I needed any points I could get. They ended up getting there in the back door, but no, it was kind of a tough hang all across. Like we didn't see basically like all 3 phases where, hey, this isn't working. Love's dicing the defense a little. Gilmore is getting lost on some of these routes. We're struggling to, basically stop anything that this young first-year quarterback is doing with our, highly touted defensive coordinator that's taking head coaching, interviews at this point. McCarthy's game plan stunk for most of the first half, obviously, and then Dak made some mistakes, and that's the nail in the coffin, man.
Okay, so theory on the Dallas defense was they were the star of the show in terms of the shit show, and I guess theory on why the defense was such a phenomenal disappointment at home in that spot. Too reliant on splash plays, too reliant on.
I mean,
on
they were. I mean,
outlier
it's kind of been their thing for a few years, and obviously, without Diggs for most of the year, they did take a step back of their potential or what they
Sure.
were even early.
Yeah.
It's like a 20-yard sack. Jesus Christ, buddy.
You
Glad
have
we
an
got
over
the second half
game.
over.
Been over in this game, like consult a doctor.
Yeah, it's not. It's getting weird in a hurry here, but no, and I guess I don't want to. I did just rip on Dan Quinn, and some of the coverages were a little suspect, but I don't know. It feels like more people are going negative and ripping on McCarthy and Dan Quinn than want to get positive and give LaFleur and his staff any credit, because I think if you go back and watch that game, and I haven't had a chance yet, it just felt like, when I was watching clips here and there, it was good routes, good concepts, good plays that were getting their guys open. It wasn't all just, Dallas sucks.
Sure.
I think there's this need from everyone who, isn't a Dallas fan to shit on Dallas. And I think we should give McCarthy, and, this was, and it's crazy too. If these receivers are good, they're all just like, they have 6 receivers under rookie contracts. If you count the 2 tight ends.
Yeah.
It's a very young, cheap wide receiver room. You can build everywhere else.
Yeah. I think ultimately the Cowboys were pretty weak at the linebacker level, and it felt like, Matt LaFleur correctly identified that and just put those guys in hell. And they were playing a lot of dime, a lot of smaller sets. The blocking got to the second line a lot, and then it was Aaron Jones just left to do whatever he wanted to do. I do think that I give Matt LaFleur a mountain of credit for being on the other side of the bell curve in terms of hey, you don't have to continue to try to be aggressive once you have a lead like that in a game like that. But if you choose to, you can literally you can make the Dallas win probability 0 instead of 10 at 5, right? Yeah, it was 9% when Aaron Jones scored the touchdown that put him up 20, I guess it would have been 24 points. And it was but he kept his foot on the gas, which was a huge breath of fresh air, because so many coaches just elect to shorten the game at that point instead of being look, man, this Cowboys team is good. We've seen them score 40 points a couple times this year. Let's get to 40 ourselves. We can do it. Our plays are working today. Let's just keep going with the good plays. And I thought that was pretty refreshing. And you know who I didn't miss in this game, Andy? AJ Dillon.
Yeah,
did not miss him.
He can retire. He had a couple nice games down the stretch. I'm trying to be positive today.
Okay.
And okay. I do want to point out a little thing about, what's better than being 99% to win a game, being 100%, because you just never know. Things happen. Even just within the last couple of years, think about the Vikings-Bills game. Think about the Vikings-Colts game. Think about, 28-3. Bad things can happen when you take your foot off the gas. It's I think it was in the U. Remember the U, the 30 for 30s? Was it, or maybe it was Catholics Convicts? Because I think Jimmy Johnson ran up the score on Notre Dame. I think it was John. Do you remember that? There was he had a game where he let someone in the back door or something and lost. And he said, I'm just not doing that anymore. And, I'm going to call good plays all the way till the whistle comes. And such is how we play football now. So
I love it.
I'm fine with keeping your foot on the gas as long as nobody gets hurt.
Yeah, same. Just a superlative game plan from Matt LaFleur, superlatively executed by Jordan Love. You know what? The one thing I was kind of disappointed about, I took some Jordan Love top passer for the playoffs broadly, thinking he might actually have a chance just if they get to the NFC Championship game to be the guy. How did he only have 270 something yards, man? Didn't he feel like he was hitting home run after home run in that game? He only passed the ball.
They actually ran quite a bit.
He only passed the ball 21 times. Well, they didn't have very many plays because their plays were such chunky. There were so many chunk plays. But he only passed the ball 21 times. He had 272 yards, 13 yards per. Wait, is that yards per attempt or yards per completion? I don't know. But like just flat out awesome by the Packers in every phase. It was something to see. Packers defense held up a little bit well as well, but some of it was the turnovers, not just the defense playing well. They had some leaky moments, I thought. Ultimately, it was we got ourselves a safety dance.
Yeah, I think that's a safety. We're stopping.
Well, now we're in scoregami territory, maybe.
now we're in a weird spot. So if we win, they're gonna call what do you call
that was correctly a safety.
Yeah.
Intentional grounding in the end zone is a safety, but that looked like he was down. It was in the grass, but I don't know why they didn't blow a whistle. All right. So yeah, the Packers defense still untrustworthy. Certainly. But they definitely came up with a couple key plays when they needed them. No injuries to speak of outside of the one guy who he had a couple
Kingsley Mbare.
Yeah, Kingsley's
that one
done
didn't look
ACL.
good. They worked out some pass rushers this morning.
Mm-hmm.
So it didn't seem great. Jair Alexander exited the game. One other linebacker missed a little bit of time. But I think they're both kind of we'll just wait and see for the week. I don't think I'm ruling out Jair Alexander at this point.
I dig it. All right. The 9-18. What a wild score. If you weren't watching, 9 field goals in this game. Yeah. There have been a lot of field goals.
I did read an article about Martin Luther King Day unders being a thing. I didn't understand the stats though. Like they were treating field goal percentage and 3-point percentage as different things. Field goals are worth 3 points. Yes, made no sense. So I played all the unders.
God, you did well. All right. Pack. We'll save some more thoughts on the Packers for handicapping the Niners game, but very excited for that one. Yeah. What happened, McVay?
The refs were not super cool in this one.
The Lions and the Zebras combined forces to oust the Rams.
Yeah, they got safaried. Their ass got safaried. Lions and Zebras, but it was kind of tough watching Stafford not get the call. It was tough watching, some of the marginal calls not go our way. It was extra sad because I didn't take any 3. I just took Rams straight up. So I didn't even get the cash on the spread. I really didn't see them keeping it close. I'm like, either they win this game or Detroit's just good. I didn't expect. So I've got 2 games now in the Rams and the Steelers where I needed a touchdown at the end. Couldn't get it.
Yep. When the Rams were driving with that last drive where they kicked the field goal to go only down by 1 point, that drive felt like, this is happening. And then, the red zone, 0-for-3 in the red zone. Freaking you. No idea how this game stayed under. The Rams had 7.7 yards per play. That is elite. The Lions had 6.1. There was 800 yards of offense. No, 750 yards of offense in this one. This felt like it should have flown over. An absolute shocker that there were 9 points in the second half of this one. There was a little bit of Lions kind of taking their foot off the gas a little too early, you think? What did you make of the Lions second half? They just didn't have very many chances, I guess.
Yeah, I mean that's fair. And I don't know, just kind of looking at the play-by-play here. Well, that's not great. Okay, just ran a long ways. Yeah, the Lions, if you don't count the play at the drive where they ran out the clock, they only had 3 drives in the second half besides that. And it was a long field goal drive, a 4-play punt, and then a 3-and-out. The Rams' drives were long. 6-minute field goal, 6.5-minute field goal, and then the final weird punt there. God, how far did they get?
That was the guy, Trey Palmer, you made fun of for not having a picture.
Oh, yeah. Breaking loose, Trey Palmer.
Anyway, the field goal drive for the Lions ultimately was enough to get it done, which was their first possession in this third quarter. And then, a 4-play punt, a 3-play punt, and then the 7 plays that took the last 4 minutes of game clock away. People have kind of focused, I think, a little bit on the Rams bungling the timeout situation in the second half, but really like I don't know. I didn't get the I mean, it's 4th and 14. Like, what are you going to do? But like at that time, 4 minutes, 15 seconds left in the game. I guess really it was the 3rd and 14th play. 3rd and 14th.
I was going to say,
right?
the plays leading up to that are the problem, not the kicking the field goal on that play.
Yeah.
Like, just in general, the sequencing of your drives.
I was blinded by homerism, so I couldn't even tell you if that holding call on 3rd and 4 was correct or not, but it felt wrong. And then they did not give the Rams a makeup call on the next play where Puka got molested by Sutton. I was also very angry at Kirby Joseph, the guy that killed Tyler Higbee.
And
like
TJ Hawkinson, same guy.
Yeah, I saw that replay, I think 500 times on Twitter today. I don't need to see it anymore. You can stop showing it to me. I've seen it enough.
Gross.
Bad injury. Rams are done. Bummer. The Lions moving on is still going to be a fun team to handicap the next couple weeks, I think. And in particular against the winner of this game, which looks likely to be the Buccaneers, as they are now at 25.
I don't have maybe somebody's already got a script set up for this. I would struggle to find a game where the two quarterbacks were as efficient and effective as these two quarterbacks were that still stayed under the total. Like that, my major takeaway was like both quarterbacks were very good the whole game. For the most part, it was really good quarterback play. We saw there wasn't like, like in some of the previous games, we mentioned the Flacco turnovers are so huge, the Dak turnovers. Like there wasn't these big negative plays that affected it. Was most of the impactful stuff was these quarterbacks were going back and forth and playing a really good game. And I think basically it came down to the red zone play calling, the red zone execution, and then a little. I don't want to cop out with the refs, but the refs.
Yeah. I went to.
What do you expect? It's a playoff game on the road. You're not going to get those calls.
Yeah, I went to Scoregami, by the way, and there has never been an 18-9 final score. We are not going to get that. The next most likely Scoregami is 39-9, I guess, which is, I don't know how we get to 39, but who knows? All right, man. Any final thoughts on McVay's lack of aggressiveness as a head coach when he has one of the most dynamic offenses in the game and a quarterback who's doing superhuman stuff, and Puka Nacua and Kyron Williams, who were both awesome? Why go conservative in the second half there, you think?
I wonder if he learns, though. And I think a major issue there is that he's won a Super Bowl.
Sure.
Like it's a lot harder for somebody to be really retrospective and, introspective, or just like self-evaluation is a lot harder when you have that ego built in, just by looking at that ring that's sitting in your dresser or whatever. Like the fact that you've done it makes it a lot harder to say like what I'm doing isn't the right way. Instead, you go home at the end of the day and be like, winning in the NFL is hard. There's 31 teams that go home. Like you make excuses like that, not I was bad in the red zone. So it'll be interesting to see what we get from him in the coming years, because I don't know. I thought, a lot of it fell in his lap.
Yeah, I agree with that. The Eagles maybe trying to make a little comeback here. We'll see. The general thoughts on Goff. Did you know he had that in him?
We've seen it. I mean,
that was his best playoff game by far, though.
Yeah, and it's not like the Rams defense was great, but I mean, it's not like he was playing a real bunch of pushovers. So no, that was kind of impressive. It's good receivers, though. And God, hat tip to Laporta. I didn't think you were going to play, man. You were kind of effective.
He was good. All right. Well, we'll save some more thoughts for Goff till we handicap this week, I guess. Final thoughts on Bills.
mean, a little bit of self-inflicted wounds there too. The early fumbles. One of them they probably shouldn't have got to keep the ball. I didn't see it graze the helmet. I thought it was close. I guess they stuck with the call in the field, but yeah, the Steelers. People were. I had to defend Mason Rudolph. I hated having to do that, but the Steelers were, outgunned here. They were a 7 seed for a reason. That's how these things. That's how these things are supposed to go.
Yeah, probably playing without their best player in TJ Watt.
Yeah, TJ Watt matters quite a bit. The two that kind of filled in on the other side opposite Highsmith aren't nearly as good as the TJ Watt, so that mattered a lot. But that you can't. I don't want to say perfect. You don't have to play a perfect game to beat the Bills, but it has to be a lot closer to perfect than what they put out there.
Yeah, you can't fumble. You can't throw an end zone pick. You can't miss 10 tackles on a Shakir touchdown. Yeah,
you probably can't have any turnovers.
Yeah,
at all to win a game as a 10-point dog.
Yeah.
I mean, even to cover, you need to be a lot cleaner than that. So the fact that you can't get
juked by Josh Allen doing a fake slide.
Yeah, the big plays to Shakir, the big runs by Allen, which again, hat tip to Allen. I don't want to be just negative on Pittsburgh here. Allen was very good with the ball in his hands, running as a runner today. But like you have to do those things a lot better to stay close in the game like this. Tomlin, did what he could, and I came to Mason Rudolph's defense a little bit because he wasn't that bad. He was making some throws. The pass rush was good. The pass, the pass rush defense, whatever you want to call it, his pass pro was not. At times, hey, this is how you get to third down when a pass rusher's in his face. And I mean, that one ball was batted by the guy's armpit. He was so close and high up in the air. You have to have better pass pro than that to, sustain drives. So a lot of it came down to just Pittsburgh's not that good of a team compared to Buffalo. And I thought they could stay within double digits. They could have maybe at the end with that last drive. He pulled a Dak and ran the ball in the middle of the field in no time, which sucked. But still, I was proud of my squad.
Yeah, they weren't that far apart in yards per play or total yards, which is not covering Buffalo in glory. The 2 turnovers were the difference. Took points off the board for Pittsburgh, put points on the board for Buffalo.
Yeah.
So that was it. We mentioned all the other things. 2 quick notes about this game. One, the Buffalo Bills punter pulling his hammy, and then kind of maybe incidentally giving the Bills a little bit more incentive to just go for it on 4th and 1s in the middle of the field was interesting. The fans throwing snowballs at the Steelers and nobody really kind of batting an eye at it was a little bit weird. Like, we're just going to let this happen, I guess. Okay. I mean, these guys have been sitting in snow for 3 hours. We'll just let them do what they want. We are better off having the Steelers out of this playoffs. But boy, do I wish they had gotten into the back door there. Higher scoring game than anyone would have guessed because of the change in day, that the day was contested and the weather being better.
It's almost like when the kicker for the Browns got hurt. It's like, it's the butterfly guy meme. Is this plus EV? Is a hurt kicker good for us? Recapping some injuries here, and I haven't.
That's a long list.
I haven't gotten these all in the notes yet. So another linebacker, which is not great.
A big one too. This guy was kind of key to them turning around.
He was good, especially through the middle and second half of the season. There, X-rays were negative, but ankle sprain. So if it's one of those high ones that causes him to miss time, that's obviously a huge problem. Taron Johnson, the quarterback, was a head injury eval. So he was out for the game. So if that's a concussion, if he's in protocol, something to watch for, because not only is it he has to clear, well, it's Monday and they play Saturday. Like if he's in concussion,
no, they play Sunday. They're the Sunday night.
Oh, so they are Sunday. Yep, it is Sunday, but it's still a shorter week.
Shorter week for them. Yeah.
It's the other team that played Saturday, so they get the 2-day net rest advantage. That's what it is.
Yeah. But a mini Widowmaker.
Mini Widowmaker. So short week is not good if you're in the protocol. Allen Robinson is probably hurt. That doesn't matter. The Steelers. We'll scroll through some of the Steelers ones. Oh God, I had a couple more here.
Benford went out at one point.
Yep.
Russell Douglas is probably, I suspect he's coming back. Taylor Rapp may come
Diggs,
back.
Diggs seemed fine after his little shakeup, I thought.
How about the offensive lineman?
That was a little worrisome at times.
Connor McGovern, did he come back in the game? I was not paying attention.
Bale Inspector was in and out. AJ Klein had to step in for him. Benford was questionable. I'm not sure if Benford came back in. I kind of want to look at that.
Okay.
That was so Benford did come back. They had Elam in for him, and then Elam immediately had the pass interference, and then he had the interception. I mean, he's a guy who plays.
I got to rewatch that game before having any sincere takes on it. But let's talk about.
There were so many guys in and out. Ed Oliver was in and out. He went to the locker room. Yeah, there's a lot of catch up to be doing on that one.
Okay. Any openers catch your eye, or do you need to synthesize some injury stuff first?
Let me 1 second pull this up. Openers. I'm typing this in the show notes. All right, NFL. I'm still looking at second half, so that's an issue. Let's look at my numbers. I haven't updated anything yet, so I'm just going to be looking at last week's numbers. Baltimore is off the bye, so they should get a little extra rest. Houston did play, the early games, so they should get a little extra bonus, but they're going to be playing a road game here. I make that north of 10.
You do?
Probably.
Really?
Not a lot, but I'm on the other side of this one.
I'm at 7.4, and my total is 42 for that one. So
I was a little low. I think I was lower on Houston than you.
I'm under, and I'm Texans in that.
See, this is where you said I'm not giving the Texans an upgrade. I kind of paused when you said that because I think I have to. Where I'm at with my market rating for Houston right now.
Okay.
So I'm a little higher on the Ravens. Actually, I'm probably with the market on the Ravens. I just, I need to kind of look at where my Houston number is right now.
Okay.
And some of that is
25-17 Baltimore.
Some of that is probably injury stuff. So I'm not going to be betting the Ravens based off that. I think that total might be a little low too. We'll see what the weather looks like. I'm going to check all the weather stuff tomorrow. Green Bay, San Fran is sitting at 10 and 50. Honestly, I'm pretty fine with that too. San Francisco off a bye. Green Bay on another road game for them. 2 in a row, obviously, being a wild card like this. 10 and a half is probably fair.
It's crazy talk. That is crazy talk. Green Bay with pluses and points is going back to the well. A lot of what Baltimore did to succeed offensively against this Niners defense can be replicated by the Pack. A lot. The offensive line winning against Bosa and kind of giving Love time to pick apart the intermediate part of the field. Like, this is going to be the weather is going to be an interesting factor because it could be a little bit wet and windy in San Francisco on Saturday is what the models are calling for.
Somebody's calling that. Somebody was calling that earlier in the day, and I wanted to go check because also worth checking. The weather in San Francisco isn't always the weather at the Gene.
Well, Santa Clara, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Check when you put the weather. Type in Santa Clara, not San Francisco. They're like an hour apart somehow. I'm with you there. I think I'd lean more towards an over.
Okay.
I think Green Bay is not stopping San Francisco defensively.
Okay.
So I think if you like Green Bay again, just like last week, you probably like an over.
Dude, what's wrong with the Bucs special teams in these false starts, man? What the fuck are they doing? Like, what are you doing, guys? All right.
Kansas City.
I think if this was a neutral weather game, I would like the over. But I think just
worth
counting
watching
on Green Bay.
The weather.
Counting on Green Bay.
2 places now. One of them is in California, and we have to look at the weather. But Baltimore, we'll check the weather. Basically everywhere but Detroit. We're gonna have to kind of look at what the weather's gonna be. We're gonna have three spots where there can be some issues there. What is the third one? Kansas City at Buffalo. Yep. Buffalo, obviously, we just talked about this. At home, getting to host, but the 2-day net rest disadvantage in this spot. So
You got to
not
think
great,
that's
not great
stopped
for them. Plus the
consistency.
injuries. I don't know what kind of, I mean, don't make it in win percentage probability. Like, make it easy, make it a point total. How much do you take away from home field, when you're adding in this sort of rest disadvantage this late in the season? Because I think it matters more later in the season.
Definitely.
It's probably worth a point.
Absolutely. Yeah.
So if I do that and because I'm trying to make that adjustment now, I'm under the 3.
Yeah, without the rest disadvantage, 3 is fine by me. But I think with it and with the injuries that Buffalo sustained, I got to update. My Buffalo Kansas City number is not going to be final until Friday or Saturday, until we know who's really going to be there for the defense. But the way the Kansas City defense plays, they can stop that Buffalo offense right now. So that I have projected as the lowest total of the week, and the fact that it's 46 and a half under is probably gonna be my favorite total. That two pretty good defenses will albeit one very hurt, and then 2 offenses that have higher reputation in the minds of the betting public and the marketplace in general than is warranted right now. Is that fair?
Yeah, although you're kind of talking 2 sides of your mouth on Kansas City, because you just said they should have scored 40 against Miami.
Well, that was Miami defense was the worst unit in the playoffs. Maybe a hair better than Philly.
I'd honestly, I think maybe without all those pass rushers, like the cluster injury at pass rush was pretty rough. Otherwise, they're kind of middle of the pack. But yeah, that iteration of the Miami defense was not great.
Okay, what do you expect Bucs spread in Detroit?
So, and I will say too, so without adjusting for injuries or doing anything, my line was Buffalo minus 3.6. I'm taking a point away for the rest advantage. I'll make it 2.6. So I'm at a little lean towards Kansas City there. I tend to agree with you somewhat on the total, but I think I'd be more of a live better in that, or a second half under, as we love a good second half under with Kansas City involved. If it's Philly-Detroit, which is looking less and less likely, I make Detroit roughly a 3-point favorite. I guess a little more than that. That would be another rough spot too. Philly did end the season on the road. That would be a 3rd straight road game for them, traveling all over God's creation, traveling road show. If I'm a little... Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty much on market, I guess, with the difference between Philly and Tampa. If it is Detroit, Tampa, I'm going to make it like a 6.
Do you remember approximately 1 million years ago when the Tampa Bay Buccaneers hosted the Detroit Lions and lost 20-6?
Yeah.
I don't either.
I know that there was another one too, because this
was that market. That was Lions minus 3, 43.5. It went under. The Tampa was pretty bad in that game. Mayfield was pretty bad in that game.
I bumped
that was the
Detroit's.
one. Was that the game where Mayfield was just overthrowing guys all damn game long?
I bumped Detroit's home field up a little, just based on how they pack it in there for it's a dome in the playoffs.
Yeah, and those fans are activated, man.
Yeah, and I'm going to take a little bit away from Philly for being road if they do end up coming back, but Tampa, same kind of thing. I take away a little for the travel spot, but on a short week coming off a Monday game like this. But I'm at 6.3 then for Detroit as a favorite right now.
Yeah, I think it's going to be an opportunity to lay it with Detroit this week against Tampa. My guess.
I would think if you open a 6, it probably gets bet up. Somebody says there's a 5 on Bet Online right now. I would bet that. I might go bet that.
Okay.
I'm not enamored with the Lions. They have a lot of issues. Neither team, set themselves apart defensively, obviously last week, but right now they're a much better team than the Buccaneers.
Yep, I agree. All right. Well,
again, at home.
Let's wrap Rooney here. I got a lot of work to do, a lot of game to watch.
Which is the first game you're going to rewatch? I think mine's Packers.
I got to watch Bills Steelers because I missed a bunch of it. And then then definitely Packers. And then I'm gonna go back and watch Bucs Lions probably from week 5. Definitely want to rewatch Chiefs Bills. That was the weird game, one of the weirder outcomes of the season because the Bills were so dominant in the first half and held on thanks to remember the Kadarius Toney offside call?
Yeah.
That happened. I'm sure that'll be brought up this week. Looking forward to that.
The Chiefs, the Bills had some weird endings this year.
I don't really care, but I kind of care. The two storylines I'm least looking forward to reliving this week is the Bills blowing the 13-second game. And
you were mean that night.
Not looking forward to reliving that, and not looking forward to reliving the Kadarius Toney offside discourse. Those two storylines are irrelevant for this game. I don't know. Maybe
they just make Toney a healthy scratch again. I know it was not a healthy scratch. Let's make him a healthy scratch, and just not even play him, so we don't have to listen to that. So, all right, good stuff. Yeah, we'll call it a night. I'll get this up as a podcast here soon, probably tonight before I go home.
Terrific.
If you joined us in the YouTube, appreciate you guys. Some really good comments. I appreciate the commentary, the questions, the thoughts, the ideas, the disagreements even. And if you do me a favor, hit the thumbs up on the way out. If you're listening in podcast form, happy Tuesday. Enjoy this week. It's a little shorter for you, hopefully. And we'll see you come divisional round. We'll be back Wednesday.
Dude, this is hilarious, man. All of these Georgia guys. Well, we'll talk about the Eagles, I guess, later. Let's
Deep dive. Powered by Pepsi.
nice added audio.
Evan's pushed off so hard there.
Oh, I know it. This doesn't matter. The refs have lost control. Launch. North Dakota State